Hey everyone, thanks for sending in your questions on Instagram, here on Clips, various other places. So Johnny has very kindly collated them all together and he's going to ask me a few of them now. So Johnny, are you all set with the questions?
I am.
All right, fire away. I will do my best to answer them as insightfully as possible.
Excellent. First question, thoughts on Polygon?
Thoughts on Polygon? Yeah, Polygon is still looking really exciting. In fact, just moments ago, I saw that it had announced that it was going to implement EIP 1559, the London hard fork. So that is potentially very price positive for Matic, obviously. But Polygon in general, yeah, I mean, it's Ethereum's leading layer 2 by a fairly long way, I think. It's still got a lot of room to grow, and also it's got a lot in the works. And I've just done a video about some upcoming crypto milestones for the next few months, and Polygon features among those. So do keep a lookout for that. But yeah, because a lot of people still think that ETH 2.0 is going to basically solve all the problems with Ethereum, and everything will be fine from then on. That's not the case. It's going to dramatically improve Ethereum, but there is still going to be a need for layer 2s, and as the leading layer 2, I think Polygon is pretty well positioned.
Okay, next question. Do you hold any other assets apart from crypto?
I do have a rather small and rather dusty stock portfolio. Not very much though. It's now a fraction of what I hold in comparison to cryptocurrency. So I'm pretty much all in on crypto, but not entirely. Yeah, there are still, I occasionally get a nice little £10 dividend, something like that.
Excellent. Next question. Is a spot ETF the only way the bull market can come back on track?
No, I've said before that I think a spot ETF will almost certainly mark the top of the current bull market if it's announced, and I think there is a pretty good chance that one will be approved. There are currently 3 outstanding applications that haven't been rejected by the SEC, so we could see that announcement come fairly soon. So that would, I think, mark the top of the current bull market. It does. The bull market is a little bit off course at the moment because of, just sort of general fears around interest rate hikes and all that sort of stuff. But I think if ETH 2.0 was to roll out either on time or early, and that was to go really well, that could be great for the crypto market as a whole, get the whole thing moving again. And like I've said, there are a few upcoming milestones for various projects: Bitcoin, ETH, Polygon, Solana. Solana's mainnet launch is coming up. Whether that would be enough to actually get the whole crypto market moving is another question entirely. But yeah, a spot Bitcoin ETF would be amazing. But I think there's still enough potentially bullish news in the pipeline to keep the bull market going a little bit longer. But I do think we're sort of entering the final phase of it now.
Okay. What could bring a crypto winter this year?
A lot of things. I think mostly centered around regulation. There's still so much uncertainty regarding regulation, particularly in the United States. And it's US regulations in particular that have the biggest implications for crypto. So I think certainly regulations-based news could certainly bring about winter. A crypto winter. I'm not sure we'd necessarily see a crypto winter like the last one, because I think crypto is so well established now. Last time it did feel pretty hairy at times. But I think the sector is so strong now. There's also a lot of lobbying power in Congress and places like that. But what else could possibly could damage it? I guess perhaps the most realistic thing that could bring a crypto winter about would be maybe if ETH 2.0, the rollout of that was to be a disaster, which I honestly don't think is going to happen, the disastrous side of it, but that could bring it about. Failing that, I guess a major breach in either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Again, I think that's highly unlikely. So But other than that, I guess some sort of black swan event in the real world, if you like. So I mean, there are concerns about possible war in Ukraine and possible war in Thailand. That would be bad. In Taiwan, I'm sorry. So yeah, some sort of black swan like that crashes markets across the board. That could be bad for crypto. But no, I don't think. I'm fairly confident we won't see an actual crypto winter, even though we will probably have a bear market.
What made you believe in the future of cryptocurrency when you were first learning about it?
Ooh, it's a good question. Thinking back, I mean, I guess it was the moment, because it kind of varies. You know, I heard about it. I heard about Bitcoin. I started learning about it, and perhaps it was the sort of moment where I realised that I kind of properly understood it. And I mean, there's so much to understand about Bitcoin. Perhaps you can say that I'm still learning about it now. But I think there was definitely a moment or two where things really clicked into place for me, and I did see that it could survive and become something more than just something for geeks or people on Silk Road. Although I must say, like, Silk Road was really interesting in terms of a use case, and that was such a big powering force behind kind of getting Bitcoin going and introducing it to people across the world. But yeah, I think it was kind of grasping exactly how it worked that was a big moment for me.
Okay. How much does ethics contribute in choosing projects to invest in?
I think it's an important consideration. I mean, it depends what you mean by ethics. I mean, whether that's kind of ESG oriented. Which is obviously
maybe something like that, or just some of the ethical implications of the project.
I mean, ESG has not been great, because I mean, I support a lot of what ESG stands for and what it's aiming for, but I don't think those ESG criteria have been implemented all that well, both in crypto and elsewhere. I mean, I guess if you're an investor, you can't afford to get too emotional. Because it's investing, I don't think, is an emotional thing necessarily. You're investing for a purpose. You're investing to protect your wealth and make yourself wealthier. So I'd argue that perhaps you shouldn't get too tied up on ethical questions. That said, I mean, I wouldn't invest in a company, for instance, that I knew was doing something bad. But I think it would be more tied in. I don't know if I'd approach it necessarily from an ethical point of view, or if I saw that a crypto project was doing something seriously dystopian or something like that. I'm not sure I'd look at it ethically. I think I'd look at it from perhaps the point of view of, like, this is not going to succeed because what it's trying to do is horrible. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure I'd look at it necessarily from an ethical standpoint. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a factor. But I don't think you should make a decision purely, a purely emotional decision.
Quite an interesting one here. Have you ever considered the possibility of a world without money?
Wow, a world without money. I've considered the idea of a world that only uses crypto, but not without money. I mean, I think that would be kind of nightmarish. I guess if we went, well, not going back, because I'm not sure there's any actual evidence that we ever did sort of barter necessarily, but I guess that was what you'd have to use if money disappeared. I mean, I think is it Hobbes and the Leviathan who talks about a world without money and basically everyone being in a state of sort of perpetual conflict or fear of conflict, and just basically everyone basically living in fear.
Yeah, so right? Like without a social contract and trust mechanisms, everyone's frightened the entire time.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, because I guess money plays much more of a role in society than just as a medium of exchange, say, just as a way of buying and selling stuff. It goes a lot deeper than that. It's concerned with human relationships in a way, and how we keep track of debts and obligations and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a really interesting question, isn't it?
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot to go into, but I think in sort of broad general terms, a world without money is probably not what we want to aim for. I think I think the people with the most guns would quickly turn that into a pretty nasty place for the rest of us.
Okay. Did you at any point doubt crypto?
No, I don't think I doubted crypto once I'd sort of properly, like I said earlier, once I'd kind of properly grasped what Bitcoin was about and started to learn about crypto in general after that. I don't think I ever doubted it, but I certainly had my doubts about certain projects and about certain aspects of the crypto industry, and some of those doubts came true and some of them didn't. Yeah, I like to think I've always kept the faith, but yeah, there are definitely moments where it's shaken, where you think, oh wow, this this is a pretty rocky patch. But no, I don't think I ever doubted it as such.
Does Macy hold any crypto?
You'd have to ask Macy. No, Macy. Yeah, I'm sure she does hold crypto. I know she's got. I think when she started with us, she said that she had some Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I know now, I'm pretty sure that she's starting to become a bit of a DJ. So I think I can't. It's not for me to say what I think Macy holds. But we'll try and get her on camera. She's out of the country at the moment. When she gets back, we should get Macy on. We should talk about her portfolio, because I'm sure it's pretty interesting. But, I know she holds plenty, and she's always looking to get her hands on more. So yeah, Macy holds crypto.
Last question: what are the use cases of NFTs?
Well, I mean, this is a huge field that we're only just kind of that keeps kind of opening up before us wider and wider. I mean, I think the first thing to say is to look well beyond this idea of NFT collectibles. Even though there are a lot of it's a lot more than just owning JPEGs. I think NFTs, especially, I mean, we're seeing sectors opening up now, like sports NFTs. I think are just huge. There's so much potential there. Again, things like music and art. But I mean, just the idea that you will be able to, tokenize pretty much anything. You can tokenize property, and as in real estate, you could tokenize real world items and build as much utility into them as you want. And yeah, I mean, I guess if you had a house and you tokenize that as an NFT, that could be a way of selling real estate in the future. Certain conditions built in, so I guess the NFT only sells if the asking price for the house is met, say. But yeah, I mean, the NFT utility is just massive. And so it's like I say, it's really important just to look beyond the whole collectibles, the excitement around owning Bored Apes or CryptoPunks or anything like that. And I think NFTs are going to become such a part of the fabric of life. I think the next sort of big stage perhaps for NFTs or the real big breakout will be when anyone can use them and they just run in the background, as it were. So let's say, for instance, you buy a ticket for a football game, and you buy that online, and you're able to buy that as an NFT without really having to do that much more than you would do when you buy a ticket for a football match online today. And that NFT will have utility built in. It will be a certain type of ticket. There's a lot of noise going on outside. That you can that will give you perhaps certain access to areas of the stadium, or chance to buy a rare replica kit, or meet the players, or anything. There's so much potential there. So yeah, it's huge. I think we're only just sort of starting to realise what we can do with NFTs. That's all of them, yeah?
I think that's all the questions we have for today.
Thanks for your questions, guys. I hope I gave some. I hope you found those answers useful. Keep sending them in, because yeah, it's great to hear what's on your mind, and keep an eye on the channel for more of these.